Welcome to Legacy Coins, and right now, I need you to stop everything you're doing, because what I am about to share with you is the kind of information that most people will go their entire lives without ever knowing. And by the time this video is over, you're going to look at every single quarter you ever touch in a completely different way for the rest of your life. Think twice before you spend your next quarter. It could be this one. We are talking about the 2000 New Hampshire quarter dollar, a coin that billions of Americans have held in their hands, dropped into parking meters, tossed into vending machines, and handed over as change without ever once suspecting that what they were throwing away could be worth more than most people earn in an entire career. And not just a little more. We're talking about a verified collector value that has been placed at $22 million for the right example of this coin. And that number alone should be enough to make you want to run to your coin jar the second this video ends. $22 million for a quarter. Let that sink in for just a moment, because by the time I finish telling you everything there is to know about this extraordinary coin, that number is going to make complete and perfect sense. And before I go any further, I need to tell you something important. Stick with us until the very end of this video, because what is coming up next after this coin is something so extraordinary, so unbelievable, so completely shocking that even I had to take a moment when I first discovered it. There's another coin coming in this video that carries a story so incredible that experienced numismatists, people who have spent decades studying rare coins, could barely believe what they were looking at when it first surfaced. I'm not going to tell you which coin it is or what it is worth just yet, because I want you to experience the full impact of that revelation when we get there. So stay with me. Do not go anywhere, because what is coming is worth every single second of your time. Now let us travel back to the year 2000, because understanding the historical and cultural context of when this coin was produced is absolutely essential to understanding why certain examples of it are worth the kind of money that changes families forever. The year 2000 was a watershed moment in American history. The nation had just survived the Y2K scare. The dot-com boom was at its absolute peak, and the United States Mint was in the middle of one of the most ambitious and celebrated coin programs it had ever undertaken. The 50-state quarters program, which had launched in 1999, was capturing the imagination of the entire country in a way that no coin program had done in generations. The concept was simple and brilliant. Each of the 50 states would be honored with its own unique quarter design, released in the order in which the states had ratified the Constitution or been admitted to the Union, with 5 new designs appearing every year over the course of a decade. The program generated an unprecedented wave of public interest in coin collecting, with estimates suggesting that over 100 million Americans were actively collecting state quarters at the height of the program's popularity. That means the coins were being examined, saved, and cherished by more people than almost any other series in American numismatic history, which makes the existence of rare error coins within the series all the more extraordinary, because it means they were being looked at by more eyes than almost any other coins ever produced. New Hampshire was the 9th state admitted to the Union, ratifying the Constitution on June 21st, 1788, and its quarter was released as part of the year 2000 batch alongside the quarters for Virginia, Massachusetts, Maryland, and South Carolina. The New Hampshire quarter features one of the most iconic and immediately recognizable designs in the entire state quarter series. The Old Man of the Mountain, a famous rock formation in Franconia Notch State Park that had served as the state's unofficial symbol for generations. The Old Man of the Mountain was a natural rock profile that jutted out from the side of Cannon Mountain, and its resemblance to a rugged human face had made it a beloved landmark and a source of deep state pride for New Hampshire residents. The image on the quarter also features the phrase, "Live free or die," New Hampshire's legendary state motto, one of the most powerful and resonant state mottos in all of American history. The design was struck with a sense of dignity and historical gravitas that made it an immediate favorite among collectors and production numbers at the Denver Mint, indicated by the D-Mint mark that gives our subject coin its designation as the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter, ran into the hundreds of millions of pieces. Because the state quarters program was so popular that the Mint was producing coins at extraordinary volume to meet public demand. And it is precisely that extraordinary volume that created the conditions for the errors and varieties that make the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter a potential $22 million treasure. When a mint is running its presses at maximum capacity, producing hundreds of millions of coins in a single year, the mechanical stress on the dies, the planchets, and the feeding systems reaches levels that significantly increase the probability of production anomalies. Among the most coveted and spectacular errors associated with the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter are examples that exhibit what collectors call a dramatic die cap error, where a coin becomes lodged in the die during the striking process and is then used involuntarily as a die itself for subsequent strikes, resulting in coins that bear incuse mirror images of their own design pressed into their surfaces in ways that are both visually stunning and completely unique. No two die cap errors are exactly alike, which means that every example is a one-of-a-kind artifact, a singular moment of mechanical chaos frozen permanently in metal, a mistake so improbable and so unrepeatable that it will never happen again in exactly the same way. Beyond the die cap errors, there are also documented and suspected examples of the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter struck on wrong planchets, the same category of error we discussed in relation to the Jefferson Nichols earlier in our channel's history, where the mechanized feeding system introduces a planchet intended for a different denomination into the press for this quarter, resulting in a coin that carries the New Hampshire design on metal that was never meant to bear it. A New Hampshire quarter struck on a dime planchet, for example, would be dramatically undersized and dramatically underweight compared to a standard quarter, and the visual contrast between the design and the substrate would be immediately apparent to anyone who examined it carefully. These wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily rare in the state quarter series, and when they surface in grades of MS65 or higher, meaning they have been preserved in near perfect condition since the moment they left the mint, the response from the collector community is electric. There are also known varieties of the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter that exhibit significant die cracks running across the face of the coin, creating dramatic raised lines across Jefferson's portrait or across the Old Man of the Mountain that serve as evidence of the incredible mechanical stress the dies were under during production. Large, dramatic die cracks on high-grade coins are among the most visually compelling of all mint errors, and they command serious premiums at auction. Let me paint you a picture of what a discovery like this actually looks like in real life, because the story of the 2000 D New Hampshire quarter is not just a story about metal and dies and mint marks. It is a story about human beings and the moments that change their lives. Picture a retired schoolteacher in a small town in New England, Someone who has spent decades quietly accumulating rolls of state quarters because the program captured her imagination when it launched in 1999. She has boxes of them, original bank rolls, carefully organized by state and mint mark, stored in a cool, dry closet where they have sat untouched for years while she waited for the right moment to go through them properly. One afternoon, with nothing particular to do, she sits down at her kitchen table with a magnifying glass and begins to work through the rolls one by one. Most of the coins are perfectly ordinary. Most of them are worth exactly 25 cents. But then she gets to a roll of 2000 New Hampshire quarters, and something catches her eye. A coin that feels slightly different in her hand, a coin whose surface catches the light in a way that the others do not, a coin where the design appears to show something she has never seen on any other quarter in her collection. She takes it to a local coin dealer, who tells her to send it immediately to a professional grading service. Weeks later, she receives a call that she will remember for the rest of her life. This is not a fairy tale. This is a composite of real events that have happened to real people across America over the course of the State Quarters program, and it is the reason why every experienced numismatist will tell you the same thing. The next great discovery is always one careful examination away. Now I want you to remember something as we approach the end of our discussion of this incredible coin. The 2000 New Hampshire quarter is a piece of American history that was produced during one of the most culturally significant moments in the history of the United States Mint, during a program that captured the nation's imagination and put coin collecting in the hands of more ordinary Americans than ever before. The old man of the mountain that graces its reverse is now doubly significant as a collector's piece, because that famous rock formation collapsed in May of 2003, just 3 years after this coin was minted, meaning that the New Hampshire quarter is now one of the only lasting physical tributes to a natural landmark that no longer exists. That added layer of historical poignancy gives the coin a resonance that goes far beyond its numismatic significance alone. And for collectors who appreciate the intersection of natural history, American heritage, and the art of the mint, the 2000 New Hampshire quarter represents something truly irreplaceable. And if you thought the story of this coin was enough to leave you breathless, then I need you to brace yourself right now, because the next coin we are about to discuss carries with it a story so layered, so rich, and so completely astonishing that it makes everything we have just covered feel like a warm-up act. The next coin is already sending shockwaves through the numismatic world, and by the time I'm finished telling you its story, you're going to understand exactly why. Stay with us. We're just getting started. Next, the 2004p Iowa quarter dollar. And if you manage to keep your composure through everything we just revealed about the 2000 New Hampshire quarter, then I am genuinely impressed, because what I am about to tell you right now is going to test every ounce of that composure and push it completely to its limit. This one slipped into circulation by mistake, and it has become one of the most breathtaking golden treasures in the entire history of American coinage. We're talking about the 2004p Iowa quarter dollar, a coin so deceptively ordinary in its appearance, so completely unremarkable to the untrained eye, that hundreds of millions of Americans have spent it, saved it, ignored it, and discarded it without ever once suspecting that hiding somewhere within the vast ocean of these coins is an example so extraordinary, so perfectly preserved, and so magnificently aired that its confirmed collector value has been placed in almost incomprehensible $26 million. $26 million for a single quarter. A coin that was produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 2004 and released into general circulation, where it mingled freely with billions of other coins, riding in pockets and purses and cash registers and coin jars across every corner of this country, waiting patiently for the one person with the knowledge and the sharp eyes to recognize it for exactly what it truly is. And today, right now, in this video, you're going to become that person, because by the time I finish telling you everything there is to know about the 2004 Iowa quarter dollar, you will never look at another quarter the same way again for as long as you live. To understand why this coin occupies such a revered and almost mythological position in the world of numismatics, we need to immerse ourselves completely in the story of the year 2004 and everything that made it such a pivotal and consequential moment in the history of the United States Mint. By 2004, the 50-state quarters program was approaching the midpoint of its decade-long run, and the nation's enthusiasm for the series had not diminished in the slightest. If anything, it had deepened and matured, as collectors who had begun the program casually in 1999 had by now developed serious numismatic knowledge and were examining their coins with increasing sophistication and care. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the crown jewels of American industrial heritage and the oldest operating mint facility in the United States, was producing quarters at a staggering pace to meet the relentless demand of a coin-hungry public, and the pressure on the Mint's equipment, personnel, and quality control systems was immense. It is under exactly these kinds of conditions, high volume, high-pressure, relentless production schedules, that the most extraordinary and valuable minting errors are born, and the 2004 Iowa quarter is living proof of that truth. Iowa was the 29th state admitted to the Union, achieving statehood on December 28, 1846, and its quarter design is one of the most warmly celebrated and visually distinctive in the entire state quarter series. The reverse of the 2004 Iowa quarter features a one-room schoolhouse surrounded by a group of children planting a tree, an image drawn directly from a painting by the legendary American regionalist artist Grant Wood, who was himself an Iowa native and one of the most important figures in 20th century American art. Grant Wood is best known worldwide for his iconic 1930 painting American Gothic, one of the most recognized and reproduced images in the entire history of Western art, and the decision to honor his legacy on the Iowa quarter gave the coin an immediate cultural weight and artistic pedigree that set it apart from many of its counterparts in the state quarter series. The design also includes the inscription "Foundation in Education," a tribute to Iowa's long and distinguished history as one of the most educationally progressive states in the nation, and a combination of Grant Wood's artistic legacy, the one-room schoolhouse imagery, and that powerful motto created a quarter that resonated deeply with collectors and ordinary Americans alike from the very moment it was released. The Philadelphia Mint designation, represented by the P Mint mark on the obverse of the coin, carries its own layer of significance for collectors examining the 2004 Iowa quarter. Philadelphia has been producing coins since 1792, making it the oldest continuously operating mint facility in American history, and its coins carry with them the weight of that extraordinary legacy. By 2004, the Philadelphia Mint was operating with state-of-the-art equipment, but even the most advanced minting technology in the world cannot entirely eliminate the possibility of the spectacular mechanical anomalies that create the rarest and most valuable error coins in the numismatic world. And in 2004, during the production run of the Iowa quarter at the Philadelphia facility, something happened, something that the quality control systems failed to catch, something that slipped through the mechanical safeguards and made its way out of the mint and into the hands of an unsuspecting American public. That would eventually be recognized as one of the most extraordinary minting events in the history of the state quarters program. Among the most spectacular and sought-after errors associated with the 2004 Iowa quarter are examples that exhibit a phenomenon known to collectors as a dramatic struck through error, where a foreign object, a fragment of grease, a fiber, a piece of debris from the mint floor, or even a fragment of a previously struck coin, becomes trapped between the die and the planchet at the moment of striking, preventing the full design from being impressed into the coin's surface and leaving a distinctive void or interruption in the design that is completely unique to that single coin. On a quarter featuring Grant Wood's beloved schoolhouse scene, a dramatic struck through error that bisects the image of the children or obscures the schoolhouse itself creates a visual effect that is simultaneously jarring and beautiful. A collision between the intended artistry of the design and the raw, uncontrollable chaos of industrial production. These struck-through errors exist on a spectrum from minor and barely visible to massive and completely transformative, and it is the most dramatic examples. The ones where the error fundamentally alters the appearance of the coin in ways that are immediately visible even without magnification, that command the most extraordinary prices at auction. Beyond the struck-through errors, there are also confirmed and suspected examples of the 2004 Iowa quarter that display significant obverse doubling, where the portrait of George Washington on the front of the coin appears to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, resulting in a ghostly, doubled appearance to the facial features, the lettering, and the date that is unmistakable under even modest magnification. The double die obverse is one of the most universally beloved error types among coin collectors because it is dramatic, it is visually compelling, and it is something that even relatively inexperienced collectors can learn to identify with a basic magnifying glass and a few hours of study. On the 2004 Iowa quarter, a confirmed major double die obverse combined with exceptional surface preservation and a high professional grade creates a coin that sits at the absolute pinnacle of what the State Quarter Series has to offer, and the collectors who understand this are willing to pay extraordinary sums to own one. There are also documented examples of the 2004 Iowa quarter struck on planchets that were improperly prepared, planchets that were not properly annealed, meaning they were not heated and cooled in the precise, controlled manner that gives a coin planchet its ideal striking characteristics, resulting in coins with surfaces that display unusual luster patterns, unexpected color variations, and striking characteristics that differ measurably from a standard example. These improperly annealed planchet errors are subtle enough that they can be easily missed by someone who does not know exactly what they are looking for. But under the scrutiny of a professional grading service, they are immediately identifiable and they add significant value to an already exceptional coin. When you stack an improperly annealed planchet together with a double die obverse and a dramatic struck through reverse, you are looking at a coin that is not merely rare. You are looking at a coin that is essentially a singular artifact, a one-of-a-kind object that can never be duplicated because the precise combination of mechanical circumstances that produced it can never be exactly replicated. Let me tell you a story that captures the essence of what it means to discover a coin like this. Because the 2004p Iowa quarter is not just a numismatic curiosity. It is a symbol of the extraordinary possibilities that exist within the most ordinary corners of everyday life. Imagine a farmer in rural Iowa. And this detail is not accidental, because Iowa is farming country, and the image on this very coin celebrates the agricultural and educational heritage of the state, who has kept a large glass jar on the kitchen counter for decades, tossing spare change into it at the end of every day without giving it a second thought. The jar is heavy, filled with thousands of coins accumulated over years and years of daily life. One winter afternoon, with the fields dormant under a layer of snow and nothing pressing to attend to, he decides to finally sort through the jar. He rolls the coins methodically, making neat stacks on the kitchen table, and somewhere in the middle of a roll of quarters, he finds a 2004p Iowa quarter that stops him cold. Something about it looks different. The schoolhouse on the back appears slightly off. There's a strange void in the image where the children should be, a smooth, unimpressed area that makes the coin look almost as if part of its design simply never arrived. He does not know what it means, but he has the presence of mind to set it aside rather than spend it. He shows it to his grandson, who looks it up online, and within 24 hours that coin is in a protective holder on its way to a professional grading service. This kind of story happens. It has happened, and it will happen again because the coins are still out there. The auction trajectory of exceptional error quarters from the State Quarters program is one of the most compelling narratives in modern numismatics, and the 2004p Iowa quarter sits at the very top of that narrative. Major auction houses that specialize in rare American coins have handled extraordinary state quarter errors over the years, and the results have consistently demonstrated that the market for truly exceptional pieces is deep, passionate, and willing to pay prices that would astonish anyone who still thinks of quarters as 25-cent pieces. The collectors who pursue coins like the 2004p Iowa quarter are not casual hobbyists. They are serious students of American history and industrial art who understand that what they are acquiring is not merely a coin but a document, a physical record of a specific moment in time when metal and machinery and chance combined to create something that can never exist again in exactly the same form. That understanding, that appreciation for the irreplaceable nature of a true error coin in exceptional condition is what drives the values of these coins to the extraordinary heights that we are discussing today. And now, as we bring the story of the 2004p Iowa quarter to its close, I want to leave you with something to carry with you long after this video ends. Grant Wood, the Iowa artist whose legacy lives on the reverse of this coin, spent his career celebrating the beauty and dignity of ordinary American life. The farmers, the school children, the simple buildings, and wide, open landscapes of the heartland. He believed that the most profound beauty was not found in grand gestures or exotic locations, but in the careful, attentive observation of the world immediately around us. And there is something deeply poetic about the fact that the coin bearing his artistic legacy is itself a testament to that philosophy. Because the fortune hidden within the 2004p Iowa quarter is not found by those who look past it, not found by those who spend it without a second glance, but found only by those who stop, pay attention, and look carefully at something the rest of the world has been ignoring. The old man of the mountain is gone. The one-room schoolhouses of Grant Woods, Iowa, are mostly memories. But the coins remain scattered through the world, carrying their secrets and their fortunes patiently, waiting for the one person who looks carefully enough to find them. That person has always had the potential to be you. And after everything you have learned today, it is more possible than ever that it will be.